I'm gonna. Hi guys. I'm a wee bit earlier than I am normally. Rather, you've got the Wicked Lady Hippie at the bar live. I prefer to do these live. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I just do. I don't like pre-doing them and then checking them and checking them and checking them. It's just a nerve wracking. I'm on my second channel, so give me a shout out here. Excuse me. Throw something in the comments, subscribe, it's free. Believe me, I do not make any money at this. It is for entertainment purposes only, but I've never thought of myself as that entertaining. Let's see. Background Army veteran, published author, mother of one, grandmother of two, and still married. Don't ask. Age is a state secret. Actually, it's a federal secret. I had it upgraded last month. So, to me, it's about having fun. It's about there's a lot of great stations. The White Files, I love AJ and Hucklefish. Love Hucklefish. Um, there's a few that I could throw out. Joe Rogan, he's the greatest. Bill Maher, another great. But when I did this, I said, "Oh, I'm going to do this at the bar." Um, I had watched Shay Shaney, so I knew that they didn't technically have a bar; they just made a bar on the table or what have you, which was good enough. And it wasn't until after I'd started broadcasting from our bar, and we have a huge bar, the Mirror, and it's a big bar. And he bought it. Well, he went to go buy it, thinking it was a small, like corner bar, and he found out we had to redo the whole house. So it's a great little bar. It's a Remington. So I got to pick the bar stools, which is I was good enough to do that. I wanted it up and running the first day it was here. Throw all this stuff out. So it was new furniture, new china cabinets, all that make room. So that's been fun. So here you have me, the lady hippie at the bar. And I thought, this is great because everybody loves the bar, just about. And yet, then I see everybody's got a bar. I started broadcasting 2 years ago, and let's see, it's been a while. For 10 months, I was absent. Had a terrific accident, just absolutely horrific accident, and it kept me literally bedbound for 10 months. Um, but you can catch up on my bio if you go over to my other channel, which is still there, Lady Hippie at the bar. I just added Wicked, which is my old Army nickname, which seems to have followed me my entire life. I do not know why. Don't ask me. I don't generally drop videos. I figure everybody's seen them, and it's like plagiarism to me almost. It's like if it was something really, really major, maybe that others had asked me to do, I would do that. But I don't hunt and peck through and say, I'm going to talk about how dumbass here. I figure, well, we got live, and I just realized I have a live chat on, and throw it in the comments, and I'd review it later. If there's something you want to talk about, please do. This is Social Woodstock. I'm at the bar, which means, by the way, it's not for kids. Get all the kiddies out of the room. Fucked up. That would be my husband in the back because he knew I told him I was going to be going live early today. So I try to position myself at the bar where you cannot see the door. That works sometimes. And then I have cats who also have to photobomb me. You have to excuse me because apparently he wants something. Yes?
I need mobile bombing on fixing to go.
Oh, okay.
You want to have breakfast or anything?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Not good. Waffle House is good. He's going out for me. He's asking if he wants me to get takeaway. We have not had breakfast. I don't know. Get creative, darling. Get creative. Because I'll need to eat, I'm sure, at some point. Yeah. Hey, poor guy. He's been married to me a long time. So, yes, pray for him. He's pretty good about that stuff. But I try to make sure he doesn't, nobody seems to want to be on camera. I don't know what scares everybody about it, but they don't. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I know, right? So, yeah, I can keep up with live chat as long as I don't have 500 at the same time. Try to keep, if you're on my chat, try to keep it, 4 or 5 words or less. Basically, what did you want to see? What did you want to talk about? That kind of thing. Of course, you can also say, "Oh, lady, get off of there." That's fine too. Everybody has an opinion. It won't bother me any. Be like water off a duck's back. That is my other cat that usually photobombs me. Uh, for some reason, he's not wanting to leave the bar today, so he's going all the way around the bar. I mean, all the way around the bar. They know they're not to be up on the mirror. So they stop there and then they backtrack. They come all the way back around the other side. Then we have a small refrigerator and everything at the bar. So everything is right here. And we closed off one of the doorways to the kitchen because it just wasn't needed. And we wanted to bring the bar out. It's a massive bar. So we wanted to give more room to it. So the dining room furniture went, like I said, and so forth. It's a great bar. I love this thing. And he's kind enough to let me broadcast from it. I'm afraid I can't, I won't do stairs, in particular these stairs, and that's the story. And all when he was redoing the home, we put all my books and things upstairs with the idea of turning that room into my new studio. I don't do stairs anymore. And again, I don't even want to get into that side of it. Just put it that way. I don't do these stairs anymore. I'm not sure if I'll ever do any steering again, but you can combine that with how broken I was, and you'll know why. So I was sitting here and I was saying, "Oh God, nobody's doing anything. They're still doing the shutdown. These kids have bills to pay. We don't even know what's going on next. I mean, his check came through, his retirement. My retirement comes in almost at the end of the month. His was always the first. And so at this point, we don't even know if mine's coming. But he's never stopped. He works all the time. He just tells me he's broke. He's like his dad that way. You will see power outages here. I'm not certain exactly what it is about the dining room we're broadcasting from, but when the air or anything kicks on, it dims. I don't know if it's possessed or needs an electrician. I don't fucking know. But it's been doing that for literally 15 years. We've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere in my life, anywhere, by a good decade. I figured I'd be gone out of here a couple of years. I mean, we just have never settled in. And apparently we have settled in because, like I said, he ripped out carpets, put in wood flooring, he painted, he got new furniture, he did all this work, and it's great. It's really great. I was shocked at how well it had it turned out. It really came out quite. So that's my background, and I've reached my time limit to tell y'all that. If you want to know more, hit the bell. Go back and see some of the others. You'll see anything you want to know about me. And like I said, I started in on just at what point do these people vote for their people instead of how this Mr. Schumer, and I'm being kind with that, is telling them to vote. What the fuck all? Why do all of these people, and Pelosi too, the Speaker of the House thing? I worked in D.C. For years. I've worked in the government technically just about my entire adult life, and yet I keep hearing stupid shit like, well, they got to follow because Pelosi isn't voting for it. Who gives a fuck if she votes for it? She's one of how many? Schumer is one of how many? I think it was 147 or some shit. They got no mouth of their own. They got no constituents of their own, as they're called now. They're not just people. You got to be a constituent. Isn't that great? They got a label for your ass. I got a label for their ass too. They're not going to like where I want to stick that bitch. Yeah, again, kids aren't allowed. I don't know. My husband, I don't know if he left or he's still in. Nope, I think he's still in there. I'm not sure if he's still in there. The good thing is from the bar, you can see everywhere except upstairs, which we had pretty much turned into apartments during the pandemic. Anyway, I keep hearing from people and I see it all the time. Oh, they're just PTSD about this enforced pandemic where you couldn't go anywhere but fucking Walmart. Oh, the other thing I want to know is all those weddings were canceled. Why didn't they just have it at fucking Walmart? I mean, Target. Damned if I would have. Right in the parking lot, fuck you. It was bad that the kids could not graduate together. I thought that was terrible. Um, but at the same time, on the graduation ceremonies that I've been through, military included, never had any family show up. It didn't bother me a damn bit. Still, I mean, I had adopted parents, and they were World War IIers, so and the mother really just didn't go out much. They were older, so it didn't bother me then or now, and but I can understand it bothering the kids. I've got two grandkids, although my grandson is now also an Army veteran, so he's not a kid, as I would have said at his age. Not a kid. Well past being a kid, he's a young man. My granddaughter is a teenager. She was a surprise. Boy, she got them by the. Hmm. She sure got them all right. Mm. My husband's very good about this. I quit smoking about 10 years ago, and he bought me like all these vapes to try to keep me from smoking. About every 2 weeks, I had a new vape. You tried this one. I was hell when they took my cigarettes. Finally, I managed to just vape. And a friend we had come over here, and we were all sitting here at the bar drunk. And he pulled one of these out, and I said, "Those look just almost like the ones I smoked when I was in Europe. Can I buy one of those?" Of course, he wouldn't take any money. But ever since then, my husband lets me have them because, especially me, I'm always talking, and when I do, they go out. I think, yeah, I think there's 5 to a pack. And so he'll give me several packs and that'll last me all month because they go out, or you do the other standard thing, which is talk with it in your hand and it's not being smoked. So very good about keeping those for me. He usually keeps me these little whiskey fireballs. It's a burst of cinnamon at the end of it. It's like the old fireballs we used to use, the candy. As kids, it was cinnamon, but it was like hot cinnamon. So I was like, wow. You had to take it out, breathe. Yes, we drank out of hoses. We rode bikes. We played frisbee. We kicked cans down the street. We skated, ice skated, and held on to the back of the bus when we got tired. Nothing that would be able, you couldn't let a kid do any of those things now. We used to sit on the tailgate of the station wagon or the truck, depending on what they were driving. Dad had this thing with cars like Robert does. I think was a mechanic, always a mechanic. So yeah, we did all those things. In fact, it was funny. Poor mom would be holding on for dear life. She did not like that. And excuse me, it was before the entire. I better do something about this. And it sounds like an echo in my head. Oh yeah, that should wash away anything from last week. Oh, a little bourbon today is what I went with. And I mean most. Yeah, I'm a little early. I don't even. We kids would be in the back seat, and we had an older stepbrother or adopted brother. I don't know how you put that. He was my brother, and he'd be giving Dad encouragement. Dad, look, there's a hill coming up. Punch it. And then you had to come down the side of the hill. You're scraping yourself off the roof, like, okay, we're good. Like, Chuck, shut up. That was Gizmo. Yes, we named him after the gremlin in the movie. Besides, he was so little, he was always long hair, but he had just these huge ear tufts. And he has this face that's just it looked like the doll. Or I don't know what you call it. It's not a doll, stuffed animal. But yeah, so he got named Gizmo. And yeah, we have a lot of vet bills because they all have to be neutered and spayed and we try to help out all of them that are abandoned in our area. We're on the edge of a cul-de-sac and people just throw them away. Now, there used to be woods and things here. We had about 2 acres of woods. I couldn't see anybody to the left or the right of me. And my other neighbor had this huge fence. Nice guy, just has a fence. We had a chain link fence, had being the operative word. When the Hurricane Helene hit and spun off on those tornadoes as well, we had a tornado. I don't know how we managed to get through that. We had a tornado that took out just about everything behind us, beside us, and did not take out our house. It took one thing out, which was the wires that were being held up under the eaves on one side of the home. but we had a big boat out there, and it when it came loose, it fell across this boat, and it moved the boat, whatever it was, that it moved the boat several more feet, but it didn't take out half the house, which it would have had the boat not caught those wires, because it would have just gone straight down. And I was shocked because I was going to the VA to have 14, 15-hour surgery, and we could hear the rain hitting the side of the master bedroom so hard that I thought the wall was gone at some points. And I'm like, because we had the big RV, the like Wonder Lodge parked out there, and he had the tow RV. So there was another two vehicles that were completely shading that part of the house. In the 15 years I'd been here, I had never ever heard it even rain on that side of the house. I used to grab my pillow and fall asleep in the living room because I could hear it drumming on the fireplace, but you couldn't hear it rain at all in the master suite. You just couldn't. Never had a 15, and I'm hearing it hit it like it's rocks being thrown. And I'm thinking we're gonna lose this wall. And it's protected from all this. And then my husband said, "Don't even look. Don't even try to look outside." Oh my God! He said, "Everything's down. Everything." And we knew the lights were gone. And I got a call from the VA going, "Are you still coming?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm still coming." I had already finished. I went and switched to these floor length gowns because of the leg. It was just you could get in, get out. You're not getting pants on anyway. These were much more. Um, they met my approval better than going in shorts on one side or whatever I could come up with. I just no, just no. So I immediately bought a lot of. I had 4 or 5 things, but now I have like 20. I also bought that, and I've been buying the vintage, like 50s look at the crinoline, so it stands out. And so I had a bunch of those too. So I had some ways to get dressed and undressed without a lot of pain on one particular whole leg and foot. So I'm like, "Yeah, we'll make it. We'll make it." And my husband comes back and says, "We're not going." Nah, they're still throwing trees down out there. He's always so calm about this stuff. And so we didn't go. I missed the surgery. They called me right back and said, "Please don't even try to get out. Nobody is going to make it in. The surgeon's not going to be able to get here. We're running on backup power." And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not wanting surgery on this bitch when the battery dies and y'all are in the middle of this. It's not even a window to see. So I'm like, okay, we'll reschedule. I'm trying to deal with that because even if I raised an eyebrow, my leg was just on fire. And they do not treat you for pain. They gave me Toradol one every 12 hours for 6 days. That was it when I broke it. That was it. I ended up calling. It was after the hurricane. They said, "Well, you can go to the ER and they'll give you 3 days worth." So I got 6 pills, one every 12 hours. And in the meantime, trying to figure out what I could take to help herbally. And I made the wrong choice. I knew dandelion tea was for pain. I forgot it was also a diuretic. And so most of that day I spent in the bath. It was one hell of a nightmare. It really was. Surgery to do some of the repairs was 15 hours. So, yeah. So I don't like stairs. So that's enough about me. I seem to have lost my husband. He must have gone when I talked to him. Like I said, it goes out. And back to why people want to know, why are you doing this? Because you're. I didn't have even any. I think I've got one subscriber now. No friends, no family. Nobody has jumped in. And I started the channel, the second channel that we're using now. I started a few weeks back, and one friend of mine became a subscriber. I don't even think I got too many views. And it's kind of simple, even in the description, it just says Social Woodstock. I'll kind of fill that out later if I want to. I haven't decided if I wanted to do that yet. I really just wanted to talk to everybody like I my other channel before I did this 10-month hiatus. I had started building an audience, of course. And to me, it's fun just to get up here and talk and laugh and be at the bar. I mean, there's no subject that I won't talk about. Within reason, I must say that. I must say within reason, Remember, her parents gave us manners. We tend not to use them much, but I try. I love talking about the paranormal. I love talking about who really brought down the buildings on 9/11 and how come Building 7, which wasn't near anything, came down. What happened, and why don't they mention those that died that hit the Pentagon? They don't mention those that died in a cornfield in Pennsylvania. It's always the tower folk. Riddle me that one. There's a lot I'd like, to see answered. Saddam Hussein, and there was not one Iraqi in 9/11 that did any of this. They were all Saudi Arabians. So why were we going after Iraqis? Everybody wanted to know that question, and they told him he couldn't do it. Of course, he did. He did. Whatever they wanted, tactical teams went into the museums and took stuff. So whatever they were doing, it wasn't because the Iraqis attacked us. They were not involved in 9/11 at all. At all. So I'd like to understand that. I do know that George Bush Jr. attacked Iraq after 9/11. Most of you don't probably know, and you can let me know on this one, that it was George W. Bush daddy to Jr., who was the director of the CIA, and he put Saddam Hussein in power. And it was his son, Jr., 25 years later, that had to hunt him down. Now, why, I don't know. Other than this, he was a very vile character. There's no doubt about it. But they put him in power. Now, I don't know if you find that out again. I can't recall how I just ran into it. I was like scrolling down going, what? It was one of those. And I saw a film on what happened to the buildings. They say that jet fuel, these guys were all engineers. They said jet fuel is not hot enough to make steel molten and melt. And they were showing frames of this. And they said, well, what is hot enough? And they almost to a man in that room, and they were, every one of them engineers, said thermite, military grade thermite, planted on every floor on the corners, and that will melt steel. The jet fuel didn't do it. The firefighters were already containing the blazes, but beneath them, the thermite was still exploding and melting. And they showed this. There was, in my mind, there was no question. None. And then they showed Building 7, which was completely separate. It was in front of two other buildings that didn't sustain damage either. And yet, Building 7 pancaked as well. I don't know if the rest of you, but when I was looking at this live, I'd come home for lunch, turned on the telly. My husband's a truck driver as well and an instructor, and he was on the road with a student. And I rang him immediately, and if we both said, have you seen the tower? A plane hit the tower. I said, no, a plane was driven into that tower. I saw it as it hit. I saw it live. This is on purpose. And then, of course, you see a second airliner. And I'm like, oh, my God, there's another one. And he's like, you're going to be kidding me. I said, no, there's another one. It's going to hit the other tower. It's headed for it's hit the other tower. By the time the first one hit and the second one hit, it was about an hour difference. I can't quite recall how much, but it wasn't quite an hour, but close. And they told people from Building 1 who had already gotten out that they were fine. They had the fire under control. So anyone under 60 floors could go back to work. These people went back to flipping. And about that time, the building gave. But it pancaked. It didn't just all over. It was like a controlled explosion. It did not take the second one as long, in my mind, to come down. I was so shocked at what I was seeing. Plus, I knew the towers were made to have been, kind of looking in case an airplane hit them. At the time that they were built, so there were supposed to be protocols and things in there. But this entire room full of engineers were showing footage after footage after footage where these towers should not have come down. Because I got angry because the firemen, they said, come on back in. I got angry because the firemen were still in there. 300, almost 400 firemen died. And first responders. I don't know how many of them, but basically we lost about another 500 people, I think. But it wasn't the Saudis that attacked. And for the life of me, I'm still going, riddle me that bad, man. Riddle me why Building 7 came down. Riddle me how they came down pancake. They didn't fall over. They didn't sit there and burn. They got hit an hour later. They were straight down. The Pentagon. Oh, yeah. Now they're saying the one didn't hit the Pentagon. It did hit the Pentagon. It did hit the Pentagon. I saw the damage for 2 seconds. And after that, there was a big flags that were draped across. You couldn't see anything. And then it was fixed. It didn't take the Pentagon a week. You know, the towers took like 8 years or some shit. And $400 billion. I don't know. Probably because they wanted to swallow a lot of that money before they ever put anything in there. I'm not real impressed. I'll say it that way. Mm, that's smooth bourbon. I was drinking Glenfiddich yesterday. The whole 10 months that I was laid up, I never had a drink. Generally, I don't drink. I do this Monday through Friday now instead of 7 days a week. So I take the weekend off. I don't drink on the weekend. A lot of my friends are laughing at me and they're going, that's because you need courage. I'm like, probably. Let's not argue. I don't give a shit. It's a reason. That's all I need. Back to the stupid ass government that's running us into. They've been running America into God knows what. They've been breaking America for the last 20 years. Truthfully, when I came back from Europe, one of the first thing I said was, you're going to have a terrorist attack and a bunch of people will die, because I had been through the airports. And it was just anybody could walk up and shoot you in the face. Anybody could have a gun. Nobody would have known they carried it in there or what it was. I had been in Europe where the Rome airport had been attacked right after I left. Um, that when you went to an airport back my day, this is the 70s, you went to an airport in the later 70s, you didn't even have seats in there. You had nothing in there. You carried your luggage to the desk and they sent that bitch out to the plane and you stood around. You could lay up against the wall, but there was nothing in those buildings for the people to relax. I hate America, and there's people are watching TV and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. It's as if they didn't see what happened in Europe. How could they miss that? That was during the time not long after they blew up the barracks and killed 283 sleeping soldiers. Stop that. Gizzy. Gizzy. No. You see how I have to do this, right? I never. Gizman. Gizman. He listens to nothing I say unless I start chunking stuff at him. Go find that. We're dog people. We moved here, and I'll still say, so did my grandson, that the neighbor, he was married at that time, and they got rid of her. But she killed our dogs. I don't know what she used, but she killed them. And it broke my heart. And my husband's, we had a chow husky mix. And he would say, I love you. So whenever Robert would come home, and usually if he was taking a student, it could be 2 or 3 days, do a long haul. And he would, I love you, I love you. And then we had to actually take him to the vet because we couldn't stand to see him suffer anymore. He couldn't stand up from behind. They kept telling us it's arthritis, it's this, it's that. Now you guys gonna start? What? I need to say, hey, there's cartoons actually up here. Bring the kids back. It's sometimes it goes off without a hitch, knock on wood. Sometimes it's like there's 30 little clowns all around the house and they come out at different times for me to deal with. It could be the hooch. I still got a live chat up if anybody sees me at all. It is damned annoying. But I surely don't smoke too many. I saw when I went to Kroger, they built a new Kroger about a mile and a half down the road. And I have a little Walmart groceries, not the big ones, just groceries. And I generally go there or the Food Line, which is about, you know, 3 or 4 blocks on one side, 3 or 4 blocks down is Walmart. Go the other way a mile, and there's the new Kroger. Well, I couldn't get around at all. I don't know about you ladies, but think about this. If you have to use crutches, which was what they gave me on day one when I broke it, they had to wait for the stuff to go down and have surgeons, put me in the schedule and all that stuff. They gave me crutches. And I'm not going to say my age, but they knew my age. And not one time did they say, "Here, take a wheelchair. I don't think you can use crutches." So they hit me with fent. It took them 3 hours to get me out of the house because where I fell was right in front of the front door. I had managed to pick up with my stockings and move it just a little bit to the side, screaming the entire time so that people could get in the door. Well, they could get bodies in the door, but they couldn't get me out the door. These were some stupid ass people. I'm not kidding you. So they call somebody who can give somebody something for pain. I'm like, so you're just fucking drivers. They had immobilized the leg. They did manage to take a couch cushion. I mean, a couch cushion, one of the big ones, not just a pillow, and put that behind me because I'd been doing this the whole time. And finally, I could almost be comfortable. But 3 hours it took to get me out of the house. These people just didn't. They went around their elbow to get their ass. So they go get things ready. The guy shows up. And he says, "I'm going to give you this much fentanyl." I said, "Fentanyl?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Okay with you?" I was like, "I don't give a fuck if it's an elephant. Do it." And I've been screaming. I couldn't stop screaming. And because they're checking this, each one, they're doing nothing. And finally I exploded. It's like, you need to fucking do something before I call the police to arrest every damn last one of you. Anger helps when you're in that much pain. So they did the fentanyl. They waited for the third guy to come out. They did the fentanyl after about 20 minutes or 30 minutes ambient. And meanwhile, the neighbors are thinking, what the hell? Because you got the ambulance there. Then you got an EMS truck red out there. Finally, they get that done. He says, "Well, I'm going to give you half now. I'm going to give you half of the ambulance." I'm like, "Why are you doing this? Just why are you fucking with me?" We're going to roll you onto a sheet. And then we're going to take you out to the gurney because the gurney can't come in. So we're going to put you on a gurney with a sheet. And I'm thinking, I don't give a fuck. I'm about to walk to the hospital at this point. The hospital's 2 fucking miles. I kid you not. It's Hospital Row, 2 miles from me. The VA is a mile and a half. So they go to doctors. That's great. They finally get me in there. They pick me up. And of course, in a sheet, your body just does this. That's the screaming. Oh, yeah. Couldn't stop screaming. I tried. No, it really wasn't me screaming. It was just my vocal cords going, "We will kill you, bitch." So I am not, and I've worked in and out of the medical field all my life as well, during the military, civil service, and all that. I was so pissed off at these. I don't know what you'd call them. They couldn't even steer the fucking ambulance. I swear to God, they hit every pothole there was. And there are quite a few in Augusta. The whole way. Thank God it was only a couple miles. But he did do what he said he would do, which was give me a second shot. So I wasn't screaming as much in there. Only screamed when they took me out and managed to tunk, 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 tunk. You know how they see it on TV? They do that. The ER doctor walked in, and you could see where one of the breaks were. It almost come through the skin. And she said, "I hear you have a broken leg." And I tried to kill her. I just couldn't move any further, and I'm screaming the place down. But if I'd have got my hands on her, she left the room. I didn't tell her, "I'm going to kill you, you motherfucker. I'm going to kill you." You know where that shit was. I'm going to find that bitch and kill her. The fentanyl had kicked in. She's also the one that came through, and I said, "You touch me again, you're a dead bitch." She said, "No, I won't do that." And so she went around on the other side, and she said, "I thought you'd like to see your leg." Oh my God, it was horrific. Nothing was where it was supposed to be. Jagged, ends and everything was all over the place. The ankle was mainly detached. You only have two bones in your leg, and I had destroyed two of them. The only two that was in there. I mean, I didn't do it right. You're gonna fuck yourself up. Do it right. But she and I told her, I said, I'll never forget you. And if I ever see you again, and I'm not having medical attention given to me, you might want to go on the other side of the street because I will never forget what you did to me on purpose. You did that shit on purpose. And I'm trying to talk quietly. Meanwhile, there's five or six guys, the EMS people, so they're moving back to the walls. I was like, I'm not kidding you, lady. I don't care what drug they put me on. I'm not kidding you at all. If you see me, run. Just run because I want to do something to you. I said, did you know it was right here? When you deemed damn straight what it was. You fucking knew. And you didn't just touch it, which would have been less painful. You grabbed it like it was a soccer ball and you were about to put the winning game. So I've never seen her yet. No, I did not stay at that hospital. I went to the VA, like I said, and they ended up sending me to the University of Augusta because the VA was out for 2 weeks more. Still, it was a month later, the day that I got an appointment at Augusta University. And the surgeon took one, and this was at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd been there all day. And he said, you've been this way for 4 weeks, for a month? I said, yeah. He said, I need my team right now. He went to the door and yelled for his team. He come back to me and he held my hand and he looked up at me because I was, on the gurney. He says, we're going to put you in now. It's going to take a while. So now means 4:30 tomorrow morning. I want you here. Can you do that for me? And I was like, I could hop, skip, and jump that bitch by now. It was a 15-hour surgery, which they told my husband about 8 hours. It was a little over 15 hours. And yeah, it was a mess. So yeah, it was fun. The crutches were the thing that you go catch me, catch me, catch me. I couldn't take one step the day I broke it, and they had two little strips that ran up to my knee that was like plaster hard, and a strip that went under the ankle and then up the back of the leg, and the rest was A strap. I had to get the X-ray so you can see it because I had no idea. And they're using E-strap. Well, I'm on fentanyl, so I don't care. I went in 3 times. They changed it 3 times, and it got worse each time. And I could not stand on it, could not do anything with that leg. They finally got that off, put me in what they called a camo boot, which was also fun. No, couldn't get on, put your weight on it. So I was literally stuck because I couldn't walk anywhere. The wheelchair was too wide, too old to get in and out of it. The pain would ratchet so high you're like, why is my face wet? Oh yeah, okay, that hurt. It was one of the most horrible things I've ever in my life had, and pray God I never have to go through anything like that ever again. So that's what happened to me. If you don't want to go back, that's what the hiatus was about. If there is something anybody wants to talk about, and I know it's a little bit of a crazy schedule. So again, if you don't see me out here on the live chat, you can pick it up. You just go to your search bar. You know this, and hit subscribe, hit like, hit the bell. Just do something. Let's make them happy over there. I don't. Maybe I should send a bottle of Glenfiddich. They're not happy wherever they are. They're not happy. And it's like I love Eli. He started a podcast. I'm sure everybody's caught it, but he started one. I would love to actually catch him and talk to him. Man's amazing. What they did to him after all the service he gave this country. Shame on you people. Just shame. I almost forgot. I'm sorry. I said every day I got up online, and it's not that easy to do a podcast by yourself when you really don't have much of an audience yet. So fuck it. Yeah. um, I wanted to mention Charlie Kirk's name and the fact that he was a great Christian husband, loving father. He had started it from his in his basement or his garage, kind of like everybody else does. Is now a billionaire. I didn't know any of that. I just knew him as the prove me wrong guy. And I said I don't watch a lot of those TV. So I'd only known that. And what shocked me that day when I heard it, and then Trump came on, President Trump said, lower the flags. I hit my knees. And in the other part of your brain, you're going, why is this rocking you so hard? And I turned to my husband. He said, you all right? I said, this is so shades of JFK. He said, yeah, I think so too. Why we would come to such a conclusion? He'd watched maybe one or two of those events. I've watched a couple dozen maybe. And it turns out I was completely smack on right. There's so much that is not adding up. So I get off of that. Easy. He's trying to chew my power cord in two. No. He's like, it tastes good. Really, it does. Do I have to stop? And he has the gizmo face. And he wanting to flick water on it to see if the gremlins show up. Unbelievable sometimes. Let's see what else besides Charlie. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows he was assassinated. He's a martyr, and I don't want his baton to drop. Candace, I adore you. I've watched you for years. I like you a lot. I want you to woosa. Not man. It doesn't matter what I want technically. I fear for you. I really, really fear for you. I was hoping you would just step back for a couple days and give yourself a break. I worry about you, and I'm worried also that if they can take out a well-known figure like Charlie Kirk, and it's supposed to be some 23-year-old kid who has a scholarship to be an engineer, it doesn't sound like much of an assassin to me. Yeah, I could. At 23 years old, I could have took him out. I've been in the military for a long time. So help me God. Play with those. Stack of coasters. It's just too simple. This kid just, they said, oh, it was a World War One rifle. My dad was World War Two, adopted no less, and with his brothers, they all went. They were Navy, but they had weapons. I grew up with weapons. I learned to use weapons. I was in the army, the regular army we were put in, and that's another story. We were supposed to be Wocds. When we landed, we were regular army, and they were not fucking around. It's a good story. But I think for Candace, I think, honey, I know you want to know what happened to your friend. And I know you won't stop looking at it. I don't blame you. I think it's an innate thing that you're doing. And I wouldn't stop either. I agree with you. I agree that it just smacks the high heaven. And I said that within the first few seconds of hearing he had passed, and did not know he had a podcast. I did not know until I saw Air Force Two land, and J.D. Vance, the vice president, was escorting his coffin. And I went, wait, I'm missing something here. And she was, the second lady was holding her up. Donald Trump, the president, vice president, a lot of government officials were there at his memorial. And I started doing the background, and then I saw how much I didn't know about him. I did know about him, and he was the same there as he was, in person, maybe a little bit better in person. But he didn't need notes, didn't take notes. It wasn't on a tablet, wasn't on a phone, didn't look it up. He just had him come to the front and speak in the microphone. And I understood he was actually supposed to have been worth $96 million, which again tripped me out because he was always just in jeans and a t-shirt. Um, and I was grateful to know whoever did this was either clumsy enough or very good enough to have made it an instant kill shot. And Charlie, when he landed on that stage floor, was already talking to Jesus. And I know that's where he went. Jesus is so real, you just don't know. Don't get me started. I don't believe in organized religion. I'm not an atheist, but I don't believe in organized religion. I've studied this, that, Protestant, and Mormon, and Pentecost, witnesses, and I keep going back to the thing where, I mean, riddle me that. When Jesus said, there's going to be many false churches, I'm looking around going, well, which the fuck, what is the right one? For that matter, which Bible? I bet you, show of hands, anybody know anything about why King is called the King James Bible? Anybody? I got a minute. Nobody. Yeah. It's because King James put that together. He wanted everybody to have the same Bible. Everybody. No distractions about, well, this gospel for Mary's in here, and this gospel for Michael's over here. No. They gutted the shit out of it. Look up the Nicene Council. In any event, it's called King James Bible because he instituted it. And if you're not sure who King James is, I know most of you are aware of Mary of Scotland, who was Queen Elizabeth's niece or cousin, can't remember which now, who beheaded Queen Mary. She committed, what do they call that? Now I can't think, it's not fratricide. But in any event, she had a sitting anointed queen killed. This was not a good thing. That would stop nobody from killing any king or queen. Hence the revolution that took place in Spain, and well, in Spain too, but they didn't get them, but in France. I digress. Queen Mary had been married and she got pregnant, and she was in love with the first one. I think she was only 14, but he died. The boy was named James. Elizabeth had no heir, had no children, and was absolutely sure that Mary had fled from Scotland to England because she was going to be Queen of England, and she wasn't going to have that. And so they went out with the allowing her to come out where we've got open arms. Soon as she got there, put her in the tower. I think it was a year or two before Elizabeth even went down there around her. But Mary was planning things and trying, to get out and escape, and she was caught almost every time she did it. And so they beheaded her. And King James, then after Queen Elizabeth's death, became the king of both Scotland and England. And that's the King James whose title is on your Bible. That's the King James Bible. And if anybody out there can find out where it totally went wrong, please tell me. I would love to have a conversation, but apparently people are just, I don't know, I'm calling them chicken shit at this point. My second year of doing this. And it's not like I know a rocket science. I don't mix in those circles. And the people that I do know would be great on the podcast. They would be absolutely great and funny. Some of them are just outrageously funny, but they won't do it. They will not do it. So I'm going to keep chugging away until maybe I can get everybody to say, she's right. It's social Woodstock. We should be up here talking to each other and talking about music, talking about life, talking about afterlife, talking about ghosts, talk about this crummy fucking government. Talk about Weekend at Bernie's for 4 years, and then they can write a book about it. But they didn't know none of that ahead of time. He was just sharp as a tack. If it was a rubber tack, maybe. It does annoy me. I'm wondering sometimes if that's the reason he lets me have these, because it really annoys me to relight the same one. But he's right. I'm not smoking, 20 packs a day like I used to. And couldn't afford them now anyway. I saw there were 90 some odd dollars a carton. As you gotta be fucking kidding me. He said, "Oh no, they're over $10 a pack." I used to get them from my mom, the whole carton. They were like 30 cents a pack. When I went in, and that's another story, but I started smoking in the military. Um, they were like, I don't know, 45 cents a pack if you didn't buy a carton. And back then, most of us just bought a couple packs. You just didn't have time to sit and smoke. Airliners had fucking ashtrays on the fucking seats. There were 4 seats, guys. Jumbo plane. You had 4 big ass seats, one on each aisle. 4. The waitress, or I'm sorry, stewardess could come through with their carts and still walk next to the cart and still move around the cart. And then they started wanting to make so much money, they put 3 cents in and a couple of them in the middle. Well, that still was not enough. I flew in, it's been over a decade, and I would never do it again. Never. Was sitting like this with some burly firemen who were kind of sitting sideways so they could fit in the seat. What the shit is this? And they're coming through, they got this cart. Would you like some crackers? I'm like, how in the absolute fuck all am I supposed to eat crackers like this? Luckily, I had a layover and a tiny hop. I went to Wisconsin. My sister lived there. And yeah, she was my blood sister. We were actually adopted together. So she was having some problems. She'd gone into a coma from pneumonia. And my nieces finally called to say, well, mom's not looking good. People kill me. They've never kept in touch. I've had the same phone number for 2 decades. So it's not like she changed phone, which my husband would do. He put me, I didn't want one. I had so many phones at work, and same with the computer. I didn't want one. That's what I did at work. And he got them anyway. So I've used a cell phone since the 90s. Well, since 1990. And the sat phones, I think he put me on a sat phone pretty early. I've still got them. They're like a little tablet, but they weren't bad. I mean, now I've got one I hate. I hate this phone. I want another phone. We use the Androids, the Straight Talk Androids. I've been a consumer of Straight Talk for decades, it seems like, but for a long time because we have a lock-in price as well. But these other people, we had gone with Sprint for a long time. We could have bought a house with what I paid Sprint. Assholes. Um, I never did do Verizon, but they're the same shit. My grandson uses Verizon because he was in Korea. He had to have service, American service, and Verizon provided that. So, he's happy with his phone. I'm happy for him. I'm not paying $2,000 for a fucking phone. $2,000. I can go fucking gambling for a weekend and still have my leftover. That would be, again, we've done that 3 or 4 times. I love that. We go gem mining and everything over in North Carolina. And I get to see the Creek Nation. My husband is a Native American. They kept saying I was a Native American. And I kept saying, I've got red hair and green eyes. There's no way I'm an American. I mean, a Native American. And finally, my son wanted me to find out. And so for one Christmas, probably about 5, 6 years ago, he had me do the DNA test. And I told him, I said, it's going to come back British. I'm telling you, my last name used to be Holmes before I was adopted. They also said that was not true. It turned out it was. I was reading college level at like, 7, 8 years old. So I just look at you and I go, okay, go back to whatever I was doing. I'm not going to argue with you. Fuck you. And I was right, of course. I'm British, Irish, Scottish, and I'm British. I'm British. All of those are really Britons. So he's like, damned if you weren't right. He's like, red hair, green eyes. You had the potato famine. You had all these immigrants coming through to the New World. This was still considered the New World for a couple of centuries, before the Tea Party. I love that. Mind you, these guys were young, the founding fathers. Now, the pictures you see now, they probably aged early on top of it, but they're older. They don't show the guys and the age they were. I think one TV show might when they did like the Boston Tea Party, and they fomented. They did like January 6th. They set that shit up so that they could then use it. And to mind you, they didn't have TV. They have none of that stuff. I think they had a telegram by then, but that's about it. And so, yeah, think about it. These guys said, make the most of him. And they meant that. They made sales. To sell your ship. They made clothing. They made a lot of stuff out of hemp. They also smoked the fuck out of it. These guys for 3 ways fucked up from Sunday. I'm telling you what, it was a clusterfuck back then. You don't think they were just sitting around in their 20s at the tavern going, how about we dress up as an Indian and go over there and take all their tea off? They were fucked up. But they don't put that in there, but they were. These were young men. They wanted to have a country of their own. And King George was ill. He was mentally ill. And so this gave them even more impetus. And they went with the taxation thing because we can't afford the taxes anymore. And I think they may have blockaded the harbor, which was mainly, I believe, New York and Philadelphia, but I'm not sure. You have to check on that. If you want me to be sure, I'll look it up. But I'm doing this off the cuff. And my time is about up. So, anything anybody wants to talk about, throw it in the comments. Wait till I come back on tomorrow. Watch for me. If you hit the bell now, it'll tell you when I pop in. I try to get here between 10 and 12. I sometimes don't get here till 1:30. So I kind of try to give this, say, a window of 10 to 2. So if you're not sure, hit the bell. It'll notify you that I'm on if you want to participate. And I would love that. I would really, really love that. I get a lot of friend requests, and I guess I need to start responding to those because I have a queue of like 100 plus friend requests. So I'll try to see if I can get time with that. Basically, I'm now coming off the air, and then I'm going to be running about like my chicken with my head cut off, trying to get the house together. I never have company anymore, especially since I got so injured because I was pretty much stuck in the master bedroom. I don't get company, and so I haven't bothered with housework quite a lot. So I got company this week. Like 6 people have stopped by. I haven't seen it in a year. And nothing is clean. So, and I can only use my legs so long, and then it's back up and on ice. It may do that the rest of my life. There's a lot of metal in there. So everybody, go out there, have a great day. I hope everybody had a good Halloween. I did. Make it a good one for yourself, for everybody around you. Men, smile at them ladies and tell them they look nice today. They will love you forever. Your wife might be pissed. Girlfriend, wife. I don't mean stalk these people. I mean, make somebody smile. Pay it forward. And come and see me. Throw some shit down here I can see and talk to you in. And, well, bring your smart caps and see if, like Charlie Kirk, if you can prove me wrong. I would enjoy the hell out of that. Have a good one, guys. It's not Wednesday yet.